Alrighty, people. So today, I want some water. I'm thirsty. I just took a walk. It's a nice, brisk 40 degrees outside, and I wanted to take a walk. So I went to Target. I bought some, uh, what am I trying to say here? Chicken for meal prep later. Chicken dinner, right? Let's move this back a little bit. So today, I wanted to talk about uh, what I tell people, in a past video, how I said that you want to look out for people that say all my past relationships were bad, or they say my ex was a narcissist, or they say my ex was crazy. Um, I feel like most people that have had more than one relationship probably has had one ex they consider crazy. I'm not the person to sit here and say, "Oh, my ex is crazy." I actually never said that, but I do tell people, at least at some point, unless they're going to watch this channel, they're going to know. I dated somebody that had borderline personality disorder, allegedly. She was never actually diagnosed by whoever diagnoses that. I don't know if it's like a psychologist or whatever, but um, this was somebody that was like in active therapy. She was in therapy, and the therapist told her that she had pretty much every uh, sign of borderline personality disorder, and I'll get to that eventually. But um, that's I always tell people, like, I've only had one relationship I consider bad, and it was that one. Sorry, a little bit of a burp there. I was drinking Dr. Pepper earlier, but let's get some of this. It always tastes so good. So, like I say, it was the one bad relationship I've had, and somebody with BPD. If you're dating somebody with BPD, there's a lot of extreme ups and extreme downs. And I'm not doing this video to like rag on somebody or like look for like validation or pity or whatever. Like I wasn't like damaged by this relationship. Like I guess some people were. I got off a little lucky. Um, but I want to do a video like this to share my experience with it, so that if you are in a relationship like this with somebody, and you might start suspecting things like, is this person a narcissist? Do they have a personality disorder? They pretty much all do the same things. They do all the same things. And I'm only going to go with what I've learned. I'm obviously not a therapist or a counselor or a doctor or whatever. But after this relationship ended, I learned a lot about borderline personality disorder and narcissists, actually. Um, and I was watching a lot of YouTube videos. I went into therapy, and every time I would learn a new thing that these people would do, I was like, "Oh, that happened to me." Yeah, okay, so yeah. Um, Now, this is the only relationship I also allowed myself to be manipulated in. Really, because I had gotten out of a marriage. I was with this person for like 10 years. Got out of that marriage. We by the time we split, we were like roommates pretty much. It was a very affectionless marriage. And I'll have a video about my marriage and the things that I did that really ruined that. Because back in the day, I was kind of a dick a lot of the time. But as far as that, like after that ended, I did the work a little bit. This BPD relationship, I think it was a rebound, because when I first met her, it was like a spark. And this is going to be the case with anybody you meet that has BPD. They're going to act like you're the greatest person on the planet. They have their favorite person, and that is going to be you when they meet you. They're going to treat you great. They're going to give you endless affection, which I learned later is actually love bombing. So you have to look out for that. If they're like showering you with praise, making you feel like $1,000,000, getting you gifts, doing things for you that God forbid you say nobody ever did this for me, because then they're going to do that more. They're going to shower you with it, shower you with love, and that's called love bombing. That is usually the first sign of a narcissist or somebody with BPD. So so that happened. It definitely happened. And the thing is, the weird thing is, the reason I look past it, kind of, there's cat hair up here for some reason. What were you doing? Huh? You being bad? um, what was that? I got distracted by cat DNA. Oh shoot. That's the first time they do things. And then okay, I'm lost. I got off track. Dang it. um, I had blown my mind out doing this. Okay, so after that, like it was another. Like the first sign is usually love bombing. Yeah. So um, that will go on for like a few months. Now, a previous video I talked about this 3 month mark is usually the case, the part where everything breaks. So the crazy thing is, after this relationship is when I learned about the whole 3 month thing with every relationship. But if somebody has BPD, I don't know if narcissists will necessarily do this, but a person with a borderline personality disorder will, at about the 3 month mark, stop all that affection. They pull back. They don't give you anything, nothing. And you are left thinking, what did I do wrong? And I'm going to tell you, right at that 3 month mark, affection stopped completely. You know, she didn't break up with me. She didn't ghost me, nothing like that. And I'll explain why they don't do this later. But there was just nothing, and I was constantly like, "What is going on?" You know, no sex, nothing. And I think it went 3 months. We didn't actually have sex in a serious relationship, which is weird. And when you haven't done anything wrong, and when I would bring it up, suddenly I was a bad guy. You know, I was being manipulative, and she would accuse me of all kinds of things. And it's like, okay, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm asking what's wrong. So, what's up? I didn't realize at the time that borderline personality was even a thing. So it wasn't me ignoring red flags. It was me wondering what I had done wrong and what I thought was a decent relationship. That's all it was. When in actuality, it was the other way around. So I'll talk about the fights that she would pick. They were just completely psychotic sometimes. Like, so the first argument, I think it wasn't even an argument. The first weird event, I guess. So I was at work. I posted her on Facebook. I think it might have been like the first or second time I posted about her on Facebook, like bragging, because look, this woman was really gorgeous. Okay, and I was like proud to have somebody that gorgeous who I considered out of my league. Looking back, she was not out of my league. I know I'm a good-looking guy. I know I bring a lot to the table, so she was in my league. Just, I would say that to make her feel like $1,000,000 to treat this woman like a princess. You know, showered her with praise like a goddess. Somebody comment on something. All right. But yeah, I posted her on Facebook, and then like an hour later, I posted something else, just like a funny thing that I found on Facebook. Like, I'm a millennial. We post on Facebook. That's what we do. So for some reason, she took offense to that and said that I was posting something after I posted a picture of us. I posted something else to drive down the chances that people would see our picture together or something like that. That I was like trying to like cover it up, and I was like, that makes no sense. What? So the more I would argue against that and like had to defend myself, I'm like, that's not why I posted. Just post on Facebook. It's not that serious. This is not that much of an issue. What's going on? She blocked me. She got really mad and verbally abusive and blocked me. And I'm like, okay. So didn't hear from her the rest of that night. Comes back the next day like nothing happened. I remember I actually deleted the post because I was like, hey, something's up. I don't know what I did wrong, but okay, I'll delete the posts. That's the manipulation. That was the beginning of that manipulation. Emotional manipulation, pretty much. So, 3 months again went by. I guess we were at like the 6 month mark, and she starts getting really affectionate again. I don't remember everything about this relationship because I've just like blocked it out of my memory because it was so annoying at times. But I do know I was living in my own apartment, and she was living with her stepdad and her mom and her sister, and she has a kid. She has a kid. Like by the time we met, she had a 3-year-old kid. I'll get into all this in a minute. I don't know how long this video is going to be. Sorry if it's long, but if you're experiencing all this stuff, it might be useful for you to know. Um, so about 6 months in, it was like, okay, this relationship's going to work. It's going to be great. Even though I was ignoring all of the problems. Um, another, I think this was probably around the 6-month mark too. We had planned on going to a Renaissance fair, and she found, I think I posted something on Facebook, just normal, and a friend of mine who is also very, very pretty. I mean, like Angelina Jolie pretty, that I met when I was doing film work. Um, and we've never been a thing. We never went out. We're literally just friends. And keep in mind, I'm living in Pennsylvania at this time, and the pretty girl was living in North Carolina. That's it. So 600 or 700 miles away. So I posted something on Facebook, and this pretty girl, I'm gonna call her the actress. She was an actress. She just like commented something, not even flirty, just commented on my Facebook post, just a normal thing. I don't remember what it was, but the girl I was dating saw this comment, assumed some craziness, went on the actress's profile page, and took the time to scroll through all her photos, found a photo from like a year before we had even met, where the actress had posted a Halloween picture. It was she was dressed like Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. That's my favorite Catwoman, by the way. That's the best Catwoman. There's no better one. So this girl, the actress, had dressed like Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, and I just commented on that picture a GIF of Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. That's it. That's all I posted on this picture. A year before I met the girl with BPD. A year before I met her. That, for some reason, meant that I was cheating on her with the girl that was really pretty from North Carolina. What? So she picked an argument over this. Of course, I had to defend myself, and this was the first time I was like, "That's a crazy thing to assume," because we hadn't even met when I commented on this picture. I don't see her. She lives in North Carolina, 600 miles away. Like, your assumption is insane, and I said that. So of course, oh no, I called her crazy. Now I called her crazy. I'm a narcissist, right? So again, she blocked me. We didn't go to the Renaissance Fair, and again, while she's at the Renaissance Fair, had me blocked, buys me a gift, and then shows up later like nothing happened. Are we not going to address the problem that you have caused here? No, we're not going to address it, because that's not what people with BPD do. They lack accountability completely. So things like this would happen every other month or so. And it was like a cycle. She would be really affectionate for a couple of weeks, and then this is going to sound so misogynist, but it's not. I knew when her period was coming around, because she would get very distant and cold and kind of mean before her period. Now, then her period would happen. If I might be getting timelines mixed up here, but period would happen, and then she'd ovulating. So when she was ovulating, that's the only time she ever wanted to get super affectionate. And this continued the entire time that we were together. So I always knew. I knew when her period was coming around. I knew when she was ovulating, because that was the behavior. If it wasn't her, a period made her really mean and cruel. Ovulation made her very affectionate and intimate, we'll say. Any other time, she was really weird and cold, and kind of uh, just, I guess, drawn back. I don't really know how to explain it. But yeah, so I'm ignoring all these red flags, right? Not ignoring, I'm addressing them, but I was like, maybe this is just normal behavior for women. Maybe I'm just stupid and doing things wrong. I don't know. But about a year in, um, we moved in together. It they would manipulate you into thinking that they always need help. Like, they make everything a crisis. So she was living with her stepdad, and her stepdad was kind of an asshole sometimes. Like, I did know that. I'd met him. He's a decent guy, but like, he was kind of an asshole sometimes to both her and her her mother, and also she had her kid and her sister living there too. They were all living together. Um, let's talk about the kid real quick. So we never had a conversation about me meeting her kid, like ever. We never had a conversation about it. I just showed up for a date one day, like we were gonna go to the park or something, and she had her kid. Boom, right there. You're meeting him now. Oh, okay. And I was introduced as um, grandma's friend. So girl with BPD's mom, that was grandma, was the boy's grandma, obviously. I was introduced as grandma's friend, not not mom's friend. That would have been a little bit more. You know, I don't know. I don't know why I was introduced that way. I was like, okay. I think what it was is she was scared her ex would blow up about something because her ex was kind of a douche, um, and he didn't want another man around his kid. So that right there is one big issue. You don't need to be dating if you got all these things going on. So anyway, yeah, I met the kid unexpectedly, but it went great. I mean, kids seem to really like me all the time. Anybody I meet seems to like me. Um, so there was that, and then suddenly, now a kid's in the picture all the time. Like I don't. There was rarely a time where we would get just a date. It was always kid had to be there, and I'm like, this. We didn't spend enough time. You know, like I say, I was like, I'm up to a year now, but like I met the kid only like probably about 4 months in. That was it. So we didn't really get enough time to build a real relationship before the kid's in the picture. That's not okay. You should not do that. But anyway, I went along with it. Whatever. I guess, at this point I had fallen in love, and it was the only time I've ever actually been in love, which sounds crazy, but yeah, it is. Um, so at that point I was like, all right, I'll go along with it. I'll be stepdad. Let's do it. I'll go. Let's do it. Um, so a year in, um, I'll go back to what you're making everything a crisis, right? She was making it sound like they had to get out of this place because their stepdad was being a terrible person. They had to get out. They had to get out. So I was like, all right, I'll take care of it. I moved her out. I got us an apartment. We all lived together. Boom. And then her grandma left, her stepdad, and took her sister with her and all that. And they moved out. So it was made out for me to feel like I was actually helping people and being like a savior. That was what I was made to feel like. And it felt good, but it was a red flag that I, again, was ignoring. Um, so we moved in together. Um, right off the bat, there were issues. She would not explain to her kid that I'm not there to be his playmate all the time. I had to go to work, and he had a problem with me going to work. He lives here. Why does he have to go to work? I mean, he's a kid. By the time he's like 4 or 5 or something like that. And it's like you got to explain to your child that I'm not there for him. Now, I didn't say it like this at first. I got around to this eventually. Um, but it's like you got to explain to him that I'm not there for him. I'm stepdad now, pretty much. I'm there to take care of you and him, and that means me going to work. That means me doing whatever I need to do, but I'm not there to play all the time. And it was she would refuse. Like, no, you have to do this and this and this. And I was not allowed to set boundaries and just be a man. And I allowed it. I allowed that to happen, which is a problem. So let's just say there were problems throughout that whole thing. And this kid's like, we'll say by the time he's like 6 years old, she refused to get him to just sleep in his own bed. Now he had his own bed, and she would put him to sleep in his own bed. But if he woke up and she wasn't there, he would come find her. So there was no attempt to get this kid some independence. And by the time you're 6 years old, that's a problem because we would sleep, we slept in the same bed, obviously. And he had his own bed. He would wake up and come into the bedroom and get in the bed with us, which made me uncomfortable. I'm like, I don't like this. Well, she was like, well, you had to be okay with it. No, I don't have to be okay with it because I didn't get good sleep because he was a very restless sleeper and he would just kick. And also, it just made me uncomfortable sleeping in a bed with a kid that was not mine. Um, and I would bring this up, and I was made out to be like an asshole because I was not okay with it. What do you want from me? Like, and that again, looking back, that was me trying to set a boundary and it being denied. Um, so I wasn't getting good sleep because of the kid being in the bed. I was being treated like I was the asshole because of this, and I was like, I have to get good sleep. My job is to drive. I was a driver, so if I don't get good sleep, I might die because I'll fall asleep at the wheel. Right? Getting darker in here. It feels like it is. I don't know. So there's that. Not getting the kid to have any sense of independence. There was another time where, so I'm a combat vet. I don't like having guns pointed at me. I don't even like having Nerf guns pointed at me. This was a big fight. It was around Valentine's. It wasn't Valentine's Day this year, or not this year, but the year. Um, he had a Nerf gun, and he kept shooting me with this Nerf gun. And I'm like, dude, don't do that. It makes me uncomfortable. Okay, I don't like it. And he's like, it's a kid. He's 5 years old. So he doesn't think anything of it. He walks right up to me and points it right in my face with a loaded Nerf gun. Most guys are going to be like, why are you scared of that? Well, I don't want to get poked in the eye by a Nerf gun, but also guns pointed at me make me uncomfortable because I'm a combat veteran. Can you not respect that? And I remember telling him, she's in the room. He points his gun at me, as fake gun, obviously. And I'm like, don't point that at me. If you point it at me again, I'm going to take it from you. She didn't say anything. I'm being dad. Dad mode turned on. Like, don't do that, or I'm gonna stop it. So he points it at me again, and I took the gun from him. I was like, now what did I say? If you point the gun at me again, I'm gonna take it because it makes me uncomfortable. He gets mad, storms off. Kid tantrum, and then she yells at me. She's like, "What are you doing? Why you got to do that? Why you got to be like that?" I'm like, "I told him, like, no, don't point the gun at me. It makes me uncomfortable. If you do it again, I'm going to take it." And he didn't listen. He didn't listen to me. So I didn't yell at this child. Nothing. I didn't yell. I was just calmly like, "Hey, don't do that, or I'm going to take it." Of course, I was a big asshole about this. I was not a big asshole about it. I was accused of being an asshole. It was a big thing. She was a big ruckus. Like, she was very cruel this time because I had, like, I don't know, in her eyes, wronged her and her son. So I was working a regional job at the time, so I wasn't home every day. I had a truck where I could stay in the truck if I wanted to just be gone. So that's what I did. I was like, all right, you're going to be that mean about it. I don't remember. She said something about, you need to love my kid like I do. And then I finally told her. I had been in therapy a couple of times at this point because I felt like I was an asshole because I didn't love this kid. I cared about him, take care of him, still act like stepdad. But in therapy, I learned it's okay to not love stepchildren. They're not your kids. Now, you should still take care of them. If you're stepping into that stepdad role, be dad, take care of them. You're not required to love them. You probably never will love them. That's actually rare. But social media had this woman thinking that a stepdad had to love the kids like they were his own. And some people do. That's not my kid. Sorry. It's going to take some time for me to get to that point. And if his real dad's in the picture and I was constantly told, you're not his dad. Okay, I know I'm not his dad, but if you want me to be stepdad, I need to be dad too. Like, that's going to have to happen. The kid was calling me dad. It was just a confusing situation, really. And I felt like I was an asshole. So I learned in therapy, I'm not an asshole. It's normal to not love stepchildren. As long as you're taking care of them, it's fine. And being a friend to them. And that's what I was doing. And I told her all of this. And I was like, yeah, is there a chance that I never will love your kid? And then you need to be okay with that. At this point, she blew up. I hate you. You're the worst thing that happened to me. You need to get out of our life. And I'm just like, I don't need to do anything. I'm the one paying for everything. I got you out of your living situation that you hated. You're in an apartment, a nice apartment that I pay for. At the time, I was paying for her car. I was paying for everything. This isn't a you need to appreciate me thing. This is, I don't need to get out of it. Like, I'm taking care of you, and you're treating me like I'm some kind of an asshole for being realistic with you. That was not okay. So I stayed gone for like a few days. At this point, I was over it. I wanted to break up. I wanted to get away from this relationship. Still did not know she had BPD by this point. But in her eyes, I was treating her like a horrible person. She actually got her mom to call me. And I talked to her mom, and I'm like, look, anytime your daughter gets her feelings hurt by me just saying something realistic and giving her a reality check, really, she gets excessively cruel. Like, I'm not even going to say some of the things she said to me because they just tick me off. But it was like, I was like, she gets really cruel. She's really mean. Like, I'm putting it lightly. It was to the point abusive, you know? And her mom was like, just give her a chance, give her a chance. I'll have a talk with her, blah, blah, blah. This isn't the first time this has happened. But this was the first time that I was like, I'm out. I'm breaking up. I told her, uh, I told her mom, I was like, look, I want to leave. I want to get out of this. I will pay for rent and I'll pay for her car payment, light bills, all that stuff for the next month to give her some time to figure it out. I want to get away from this. And her mom talked me out of it. Her mom talked me into staying, and that's what I did. So after this, things were fine for a little while because she knew that I was fed up with shit. I was fed up with her behavior. But nothing really changed. Like, she just was nicer for a little while, and then she had to have a surgery. It was a pretty major surgery, really, that required her to be bedridden for like a month or so. So we rented like this really comfortable recliner type thing. Anyway, while she was having the surgery, she couldn't really do much. So it was up to me and her mom to take care of her completely, do everything. Take care of a kid, cook food, do everything, clean the house. So while I was at work, her mom would take care of everything. I would get off of work. I would cook. I would do everything, take care of everybody. Um, just doing what I should do as a partner. I remember one night. Now, she hated that I played video games. She hated it. So I was up one night playing a video game. It was Mass Effect 2, the Legendary Collection when it came out. They remastered it. So I was playing that. I had one beer left over from a pretty sure it was like a Thanksgiving dinner or something like that. I had one beer in the house. So it was nighttime. I'd taken care of everybody, did everything I needed to do. Everybody was asleep. I popped open this one beer, started playing video games. Now, I was tired. So I got about halfway through the beer and I fell asleep on the couch. But now that's normal. I mean, I was tired. I just wanted to relax and I did that and I fell asleep on the couch. She came in and yelled at me for falling asleep on the couch. And I was like, I legitimately didn't realize I had fallen asleep. I thought that like I was playing, closed my eyes, and woke up to somebody yelling at me. So I was like, I didn't fall asleep. So I legit thought I hadn't fallen asleep. But that set her off. Like I guess I had fallen asleep. But that set her off, and she just was like screaming at me. It was like 2 a.m. And I'm like, you need to chill. Like, why are you screaming and waking everybody up? Like, calm down. And this was the point where I broke. There is something if you're being abused by someone, there's a point where you snap, and it's called reactive abuse. And I yelled back. I knocked a chair over. I threw a controller for my game thing, whatever. I was aggravated. At this point, I'm just fed up with it. Like, I'm doing all I can to take care of you for your surgery. There's no appreciation. I've been taken for granted. I'm being taken advantage of. Everything. I'm doing everything possible to be good, and you're acting like this to me. This is so unfair. And like I was yelling, like I was mad. She freaks out. She's like, I'm gonna call my mom. I'm gonna call my mom. I'm gonna call the cops on you because I was being abusive. Yeah, sure. Me yelling back at you after you're screaming at me for the past like 2 hours. Okay, fine. I left the apartment because you're not gonna call the cops on me and lie on me. But that's exactly what she did. Her mom texted me and she's like, what did you do? And I'm like, I didn't do anything. I left the apartment because she is freaking out because I fell asleep playing a video game. And she was accusing me of being drunk when I drank half a beer. Um, she also accused me of taking her pain medication for her surgery. And I was like, no, I did not do that. Where'd that come from? People with BPD, they will make things up. They will literally make up their own reality to make you the bad guy, to avoid accountability for them being the problem. And that's what was happening here. She was just throwing things out there, accusing me of all kinds of different things, saying I was drunk, was not drunk. I drank half a beer and fell asleep. Uh, Saying that I took her pain medication and I was high. I was like, no, you want somebody to test me? I'll do a piss test right now. Like, I don't do that. What? So her mom actually didn't believe her. Like her mom literally told me in the text, I don't think you did all this. I think she's just freaking out. I'm like, yeah, she is. So her mom knows that she does these things because she's probably done it in past relationships. She's like, you're a good man. Just be patient. We'll figure it out. Um, I don't. After a few days, I stayed in the truck again. After a few days, it was like, oh, let's go back to normal, and let's fix things. So that's what I did. She's like, I don't want you drinking anymore. Again, it was only half a bottle of beer. Absolutely was not drunk, and she was telling me I couldn't drink anymore. I'm like, all right, fine. I don't need to drink, so I didn't. I didn't drink. To again, laying down, letting this woman walk all over me and control me, and even though I knew I hadn't done anything wrong, because I was trying to make things work, because I wanted to look like the good guy, because that's what I am. So I didn't drink. Come around another party. I think it was like a New Year's Eve party. Um, so I wasn't allowed to drink, right? So she goes and gets this wine, a whole bunch of wine. I'm like, if the wine's there, I wasn't drinking at first. Everybody that was there was her family, pretty much. Everybody was there. They were all drinking wine, having fun, and I'm like, I don't know if I was tired or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. She was acting really weird and distant. Like when we would take pictures together or something like that, she wouldn't even get near me. She wouldn't sit near me. And I was like, I called her out on in person in front of her family. I'm like, every time you're around your family, you won't get near me. You act like you hate me. Like, what is going on here? And her mom like agreed with it. She's like, yeah, like why don't you ever want to sit with him when we're around? Because I was like, she doesn't do this. She only does it when her family's around. So again, she got mad at me for that. And then I don't know. I went in another room for a little bit to just like get away from it. I was annoyed. She comes in there like, you need to go out there and be with everybody. Just drink some wine with everybody. Do this and that. It's like, you told me not to drink. She's like, no, go drink. Okay. So I poured myself a glass of wine, one glass of wine. Went through the party and everything. Keep in mind, I was working a job where I woke up at like 4 in the morning. It's like 1:30 at night. I had to work the next day. I was like, I need to go to sleep. I have to go to sleep. I was not allowed to go to sleep because the party was still going. And I was like, I gotta sleep somehow. Like, so I did. I left. I went to sleep. I closed the door off and tried to sleep. And all I remember is the next day she was accusing me of being drunk and being an asshole. I was like, again, accusing me of being drunk when I was refusing to drink. You told me to drink some wine. I drank one glass of wine, and then I said I need to go to bed because I have to wake up for work. And I'm drunk and an asshole for that? No. Remember, at this point, I'm fed up with the bullshit. Like every time she did something wrong, I would point it out. I'm like, don't do this. I'm tired of it. You stop accusing me of things that aren't true. Just quit. If you're not going to put in, and she was also putting in no effort. Like I was putting in all the effort in the relationship, and I was getting nothing out of it. And I was telling her this too. I'm like, I'm getting nothing from this. I'm working all the time. I'm making more money than I've ever made, and you're getting all the benefits of this, and I'm getting nothing, nothing. And of course, uh, no, wait, actually, there was a point where she was like, "No, I'll do better." She actually said, "I'll do better." Nothing changed. Nothing changed. Come the end of summer of 2022 is when we finally split up, and this is how it happened. I was working a little bit more than normal because we were trying to make a little extra money to move to like a different area. Um, I remember the day before this all happened, I had messaged her like, I don't know. Like, at this point, I was over the relationship. I wanted to be out of it. And I was like, I'm tired of doing this. I want to be out of this relationship. I want to do it in a way where you're taken care of and that you're not just put out on the street, but like, I want to be done with it. And she said, no, we'll work on it. Okay. The next day, I got back from work. I had gone to like Boston or something like that. I got back really late that night, and I was like, I know you're already going to be in bed. I'll just sleep in the truck. She's like, okay. So I slept in the truck, woke up the next morning. I texted her something. I can't remember what it was, like a good morning or something like that. Looked on Facebook, and on her page, her Instagram, everywhere, pictures of us were deleted. She had deleted me from all of her social media completely. And I was like, what is this? Okay, you know what? I was telling you yesterday that we were going to split, and but you said let's work on it. I said okay, and now everything's deleted. So what's going on here? I get this raving text accusing me of cheating on her and giving her an STD. What? Yeah. So I'm like, where are you getting this from? Because one, no, I have not cheated on you, and I have not given you an STD. If you have an STD, it's because you cheated on me. That's the immediate conclusion I had. So I'll get to that. I'll get to talking about that in a minute. Um, but yeah, again, I was the worst thing that ever happened to her. I had cheated on her. I had given her an STD. She was going to ruin my life. She was threatening to ruin my life. She was going to call a lawyer and try to get me, I don't know, sued or something like this for ruining her life and this and that. And I'm like, I have done nothing wrong. What kind of craziness are you pulling out of your ass right now? I was done being nice at that point. Um, I I remember her saying something like, if I came to the apartment, that she was going to call the police. And I don't know what she would have told them, but I was like, I'm not coming to the apartment. I'm going to stay in the truck, and you're going to get out of the apartment. She's like, no, I'm on the lease. You can't kick me out of the apartment. I was like, you're on the lease. I can't kick you out of the apartment, but I don't have to pay. I don't have to pay for that apartment. I will get us both evicted before I go back to you after I mean, what she said to me, like, were so many just cruel, horrible things. I was like, after how you've treated me and accusing me of things I did not do, and I'm assuming now that you've cheated on me and you're trying to blame it on me. People with BPD do that. They are highly likely to cheat on you and then blame it on you. So I was like, you. Oh, I didn't. I skipped over the part where she found out she had BPD and told me. This was like probably a couple months before this happened, and I knew the relationship was going to go nowhere because of that. That's why I wanted out. So yeah, but yeah, I was like, you have BPD, okay? You're living in your own reality, and I'm over it. You can't do anything to me. I've done nothing wrong to you. You can call a lawyer, but if you start calling police and lying about me, that's falsifying a police report. That's a false lawsuit that you want to try, and you could end up going to jail for that shit. So go ahead and try it if you want, but I've done nothing wrong. I was not being nice at this point. I was playing hardball. Like, you want to come at me like that, I will come at you harder. That sounded dirty, but yeah, of course, every time she would try to throw something at me, I had something. I was like, I didn't do that, and I can prove it. But again, this was a weekend. She accused me of giving her an STD. So I was like, okay, if she's accusing me of giving her an STD, if she actually has one, that means I might have one, because we had slept together not long before this. It was like it had been like a month, probably a few weeks. That's how bad off it was again. Um, I was like, all right, I'm going to go get tested. So I went to urgent care on a Saturday. I found one that was open and got tested. Nothing. Of course, I had nothing because I hadn't cheated. I've never had an STD. So I went back. I actually told her, I was like, I got tested. I don't have an STD. If you got one, you got it from somebody else. Sorry. Like, that's the fact. And you know it. You know you're lying. She's like, the doctor told me I had one. And I'm like, what did she tell you you had? And she's like, it doesn't matter. The doctor said that I had one, and she asked, what does your partner do? She said, he's a trucker. And the doctor told her that since I was a trucker, I cheated on her. A doctor wouldn't say that. No. And I told her that. I was like, a doctor would not tell you that. Like, that's like almost borderline medical malpractice, honestly. They're not going to say that. You're making this shit up. Kept asking her what STD it was that apparently she had. Because I got tested, didn't have anything, but they can't test men for HPV or something like that. I can't remember. I think it was HPV. So if she had HPV, I needed to know, because that's something I needed to monitor if she gave it to me. But no, she said it was it was chlamydia. And I was like, well, I got tested for chlamydia. She's like, they can't test men for chlamydia. Yeah, they can. I got tested for it. It's on the paper. Don't have it. So if you had that, you got it from someone else. Now, I did get proof of this later. I think she was lying. I told her, through all this, I'm talking to my best friend and a couple of my other friends, and I'm like, she's accused me of all this. And she's like, she is lying. She is lying because you told her that you wanted to leave. And people with BPD, if you tell them you want to leave and end the relationship, they have an intense fear of abandonment. And if they sense that you're about to leave them, they will do all this. They'll fabricate a lie to make you look like a horrible person so that they can leave you and tell everyone else that you're a terrible piece of shit, abusive person. And they'll leave you feeling better about themselves because they didn't do anything wrong. That's what they do. So she was lying about in an STD thing. Ultimately, I concluded like she's lying about all this. She never got tested for anything like that. But I got tested, clean, good. No, nothing. She was just lying about it all. Now, up to this point, she had been going to the gym, a membership I was paying for, by the way. I was not allowed to go to the gym. I mentioned this before in another video. I wasn't allowed to go to the gym because she didn't want me looking good for other women. So I didn't go to the gym. Now she was going to the gym and most likely met the guy that okay. So after we split and everything, I'm talking to one of my oldest friends from high school, is a girl from high school, telling her about all this. And she went and found her on her page, and she's like, she's already sharing. Like a month later, she's already sharing a new guy on her Instagram. And I was like, she wouldn't share us for a few months. She wanted to keep it secret because I don't know why. So she's sharing this guy that fast. She's probably thinking, or she's probably trying to make me jealous or something like that. I didn't really give a crap. But her friend showed me the picture, and it's this buff ginger dude. It's like, she met that guy at the gym. I guarantee you, she met him at the gym and cheated on me. And probably after that is when I said, I want to be out of this relationship. And she's like, okay, I'll just go to that guy then. Fabricated this lie, treated me horribly, said a bunch of terrible things to me, threatened to ruin my life, accused me of cheating and being a piece of crap when she had cheated on me with the guy she met at the gym that I was not allowed to go to. That makes sense, right? Yeah, of course it makes sense, because that's what people with BPD do. That's what narcissists do, but she had BPD. Of course, in the end, she accused me of being a narcissist, but just for having the gall to call her out on all this stuff. But eventually, I had threatened. I was like, I'm not paying rent. You will get evicted and you will be homeless before I come back to that apartment. So, of course, she had to move in with her mom. So that's what she did. And she was also using my car. Her car had broken down. And I was like, you need to figure out a way to get your car fixed and give me mine back. She was driving my Jeep. I was like, that thing's in my name. At this point, I've asked for it back, and you need to give it back. I'm being very nice about this, but if you don't give it back by a certain point, I gave her a couple of weeks, I will report it stolen. And I have proof that it's stolen by you. And that's going to be a world of pain for you. Of course, she didn't like that at all. I was like, what are you going to do? At this point, you have my property. Get out of the apartment. Leave my car. I was paying for her phone as well. It's literally I was paying for everything. Um, I was like, just you give it all back, or I will report it stolen, and you're going to be in some trouble. So, of course, I was accused of being a terrible person for that too. But I was like, I don't care. You've been a completely cruel, horrible person to me. I'm going to be a little mean back. I don't care anymore. Figure it out. Get out of my life. And that's what it was. So eventually she left the apartment. She dropped off my car, dropped off the phone, all that stuff. And she's like, it's all out. You can move in. And I was like, okay. So I'll let you know once I moved in. So do she wasn't from America. She was from Eastern Europe. And she had the type of family that would literally, if they thought a guy had done her wrong, they were the type of family to show up and beat the shit out of that guy. Like, that's a good family to have. But when this woman's like falsely accusing me of doing things I never had done, before I went back to that apartment, I bought my first handgun. That's how cautious I was. I bought a gun before I went back to that apartment. And actually, still have it. I bought my Springfield XDM Elite before I went back to that apartment. So I was like, I'm not going to walk into that apartment and get my knees, busted open by a baseball bat. I'm going in there with a way to protect myself. That's what I did. That's how extreme it was. So after this, we'd split up. I told her, I was like, look, I'm back in the apartment. Everything's good. I also told her, I was like, leave the furniture that I paid for. Everything I paid for in that apartment better still be there, and it better still be in good condition, or I will report you for destruction of property. That's how fed up I was. So everything was there. I'd send her a message, and she's like, well, now we have no reason to contact each other unless I need you for this and this. And I'm like, no. We have no reason to contact each other, period. You don't need me for anything anymore. You will never hear from me again. This is it. Fuck you. Goodbye. Done. Blocked her. Cut contact completely. And that's how it ended. And I've told that to some women, that whole story. And they were like, how were you able to move on that fast? You sound like you were just like, I don't remember the term, but they were trying to make it sound like I moved on too fast. It was like, no, this was something that was brewing for months and months. Like, I just wanted it to be over. And when I finally told her it should be over, it became traumatic. So it was a relief, really, to just have it be done. But that's the point where I went to full-time therapy for a few months after that. Really, not to just learn like what was wrong with me. That's when I was like, I was learned that I had done nothing wrong. That's just how people would BPDR. That's when I learned more about BPD. It's when I learned more about narcissism and relationships and healthy relationships and all that stuff. And also, I watched a ton of YouTube therapists, counselors, things like that, men's health. And I'm a better person for all this because I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about like how other people are shitty to you. So, but yeah, it ended and it's all good. I also, learned the whole no contact rule because of hoovering. They will use their family members to try and weasel their ways back into your life. And this did happen, sort of. So I had blocked her mom, her sister. I blocked everybody. Anything associated with her, I cut it out of my life because I needed to move on, get away from it, so that I could be healthy. So this is still living in Pennsylvania. I decided I was going to move out to Utah. So that's what I did. I moved to Utah because I wanted to live here for a long time. And then on my Instagram one day, I saw her mom had followed me on Instagram somehow, because when you block somebody on Instagram, you can block every single page they make, which means that her mom would have had to make a new page with new phone number, new email, everything completely new in order to find me and follow me. When she did this, I sent her mom a message on Instagram that just said no and blocked that account too. I'm not doing it. No, don't get out of my life. Stop following me. Also, I got an email from an email address that I forgot to block from the girl at BPD. saying that, I'm trying to find an apartment. We owe the apartment money that you moved out of. I was like, I don't know why I would owe them money, because I cleaned the hell out of that apartment. It looked spotless when I left. I don't know why I would owe them any money. I don't think I do. I feel like you're lying just trying to get back in my life or something. Um, but she was like, the email was something like, it's affecting my credit, blah blah blah. I was like, you're probably looking for an apartment with this new guy that you probably cheated on me with, and then acted like I was a horrible person. So the only thing I really sent her back was, look, I don't know why I would owe them money. If I do owe them money, I'll pay it when it's convenient for me. But I don't think that I should owe them money because it was clean and fine when I got out of there. They have a security deposit too. So I think you're full of shit. Also, forget that I exist. Stop emailing me. I'm going to block you this email too. Don't contact me ever again. Forget I exist. Good luck. Done. And that's the last I heard of her. That's the last I've heard of her. I completely blocked her. And I moved on pretty quick. Um, a few months later, I was casually dating. Now it's been a couple of years, and I'm actually looking for a serious relationship. And those are the things I've talked about on other videos. But yeah, of course, this is a long ass video, because it was a long ordeal. So if you've sat through all of this and you're in a relationship where somebody's been doing all of these things and you want to get out of it, be prepared for my experience to be yours. You have to protect yourself. Get all your ducks in order. If you want to get out of a relationship with somebody that's a narcissist or has BPD, you have to plan it. And it has to be swift, quick, and it has to be cold, calculated, and borderline psychopathic to get yourself out of that. You have to have no feelings about it. You just got to move, because they will try to trap you. They will try to get you, and they will call police. They will lie about you. They will turn everyone against you. They don't want you to live a good life. So in order to get out of that, you got to be like a freaking Navy SEAL. You got to get out of it. I didn't know that at the time, but as it was happening, I got cold about it. I got, I guess, cold and direct, and just matter of fact, get out, do it this way. You are going to do things the way I tell you to do it now, because that's the way that's how it needs to happen. Get out of my life. That's how you're going to have to do it in order to be safe. But yeah, I guess that kicked off my little gun collection. Now, I didn't get it specifically because of being scared of her family. I knew I was going to move to Utah by this point, and I was going to be camping and hiking in bear and mountain lion country. So I got a 10 millimeter because of that. That was my first gun that I've ever bought 2 years ago. Now I have several guns that I just like guns. But yeah, that's my experience dating somebody with borderline personality disorder. It is a hell of an ordeal. And I encourage anybody to go online and learn as much as you can about it, so that you can avoid dating someone like that. I hate sitting here and saying, somebody that has BPD isn't doing it on purpose. They deserve love too, but they also, somebody walking by my door. So they also very much lack accountability for their problems. 9 out of 10 of them are never going to be self-aware enough to be accountable for their behavior. And they need to. Even the cat's like, who's out there? It's probably the maintenance people. So I'm ending it there. This is a long ass video. I intended it to be about 30 minutes, but life's complicated, right? Anyway, y'all have a good one.